Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. We're really not in the basement on this episode. We're in my studio in North Hollywood, California. I wish we were in the basement. But sometimes when we do the show here in California, we get California guests, which makes me really, really happy. He just saluted because wait till you hear his story, how he goes from the armed forces to doing some of the most incredible cartoons you've ever going to see. This is my guest today. His name is Brian Amstadter. Thank you for driving all the way up from
Thanks
San Diego, right?
Yes, San Diego.
Fuck San Diego. Guys, if you don't know, San Diego is about 2 hours from Los Angeles, but if you know anything about Los Angeles, a 2-hour drive could take you 2 days.
Yeah, pretty much.
So he came up here because he wanted to be on the show, plus I'm also going to be doing a show later on tonight, and he's going to come to the show. He's a fan, he's a friend, but he started to show me some really cool stuff, I guess, on Instagram.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, this guy is just overwhelmingly talented.
Thank you.
When it comes to what we're going to show you that he does. And this little character on his shirt and how it became to fruition. And we're also going to show you one of the world's largest coffee mugs. In fact, we can almost start off with it because it's on the table. It makes me want to laugh. He's already laughing. Yes. Why don't you grab it? You show everybody,
All
Brian.
right. You see the t-shirt?
There it is.
And now you can see the live coffee cup. Look at the fucking size. It's bigger than your head.
It is.
Look at that.
It's a 2-head mug.
Yes.
2 heads could go in this thing.
my doctor said I need to cut down to 1 cup of coffee. I think this can help me out, right? This is how I get through LA traffic.
Right,
this
don't
thing
put it
right
in
here.
your face. Look at the size of this coffee mug.
Jesus, look at that.
Because you almost have no choice but to hide your face. It's got an anchor, which signifies the Navy. It's yellow, which I guess is Navy colors. It could be a hat. This is the greatest coffee mug. Thank you for bringing that up. Almost looks like a bullhorn. I feel like going, hey, it's time for coffee. Give me a cup. Give me a cup. Brian comes all the way up here from San Diego, and San Diego is known for having military bases, right?
Yes.
So let's go all the way back to where were you actually born?
I was born not too far from here, actually Santa Monica, California. I actually took my wife there this morning to show her where I grew up. I went to University High School, go uni, and I wanted to show her some spots of where I grew up. I went to many camps at a place called Will Rogers State Park. Some of you might know who that was. He was a famous actor from the 30s and has a ranch, and there's a state park called Will Rogers State Park. And when I was a kid growing up in Santa Monica, I was part of the YMCA, and all the camps would go to the state park. And I've never shown my wife that park, and she was like, I'm in love with Santa Monica, the rolling hills, the beaches right there. I took her up in the spot. Her son also lives in North Hollywood, which is 10 minutes away from here. So every time I can come up and see you, it's a 2-for-1 deal.
So you're actually a real Californian.
Born and bred as you are from Jersey. Yes.
Yeah, no, because I never really meet people from California. Everybody that I meet is from someplace else, and they came to California for showbiz. So you're actually a born and bred Californian.
Yes.
That's wild.
I'm still here. I still deal with the traffic. I don't know how people sometimes live in LA. Traffic makes me lose all my marbles in one shot.
When did you go to San Diego?
After high school, so my dad raised me in West LA, Santa Monica. He was a lawyer, defense attorney, and he just couldn't take the traffic anymore. So he liked the whole Napa Valley thing with the wineries. Moves us to Santa Rosa, California in the middle of my high school years. And next thing I know, he buys
You got to tell everybody with Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa is very far from here. It's Northern California.
It's about an hour north of San Francisco. So I went from Santa Monica to Santa Rosa. He bought a bed and breakfast in because he likes that whole winery thing.
Yeah. It's beautiful up there.
Moved me up
That's
there.
the real California.
Yes.
This is Hell A. And
Yes.
he goes to Santa Rosa, above San Francisco, Fullerton, right? No.
Ukiah, Napa Valley, where all the wineries are.
Yeah, beautiful.
And even Charles
Monterey.
Schultz. Monterey, beautiful coast. If I have any Charles Schultz fans here, Peanuts, he has a museum, and right next door to the museum is a skating rink in Santa Rosa. And throughout the city, he has about 4-foot figurines from all those characters in the city of Santa Rosa.
Right.
It's to see.
Right. All right, so he's a California boy. Your voice sounds like you're from New York somehow.
I can throw it with the
How'd you
best
get
of
so
them.
raspy like this? Was it always like that?
If I could share, in 2019, I was diagnosed with throat cancer.
Really? Oh, geez, I'm sorry,
Something was
man.
wrong, and I went to the VA. They did an initial surgery. I went back to work. My throat still wasn't okay. So one of my friends took me to a conference room, and we prayed. He said, why don't you go get a second opinion from your PCP, your primary care physician? I said, without a doubt. I give them a call. They refer me to the nose and throat specialist. My wife goes with me. The doctor checks me out and says, your throat cancer is still on the outside of your voice box. If it gets in, we got to pull everything out. And we were in shock. Like, what? So as soon as I leave the hospital, my phone blows up. Here's your scan. And then here is the appointment with the cancer center in San Diego. And things started moving. And before I know it, they took all the evidence, brought it before a board of doctors, and made a decision. We're going to go with radiation. And so about 3 months, I was going to this place. You can see some scars on my neck. I don't have to shave there anymore. But for 3 months, I looked like something out of a Marvel movie. They would sit me on a table and put this mask on my face like this and bolt me down to the table. I couldn't move. And then this machine would radiate me for about 15 minutes. And it looked like just like a zombie movie.
Oh, damn.
It was horrible. So in my recovery, I had a year off from work. And my wife says to me, why don't you get creative again? But remember where the fuck you came from or where you want to go.
Right.
And thus, I started doing this again with just a passion never before, where I wanted to make sure everybody could understand the characters. But I also write where if you're a civilian, you understand. If you're military, you understand. If you drink coffee like my friend Mike and I do, you understand that as well. So thus, I kind of understood my audiences, and I'm just in love with making people laugh every day. And if I could get a shout out, my good friend Michael Calavici out in Minnesota, I got a cartoon coming out with your daughter. I can't wait to share that with her. Maz is going to show that up proper.
Well, we're going to show you some of these cartoons because that's actually what it's talking about. But, I mean, God, what did you sound like before you had this surgery? A lot different?
A lot different, yeah.
Yeah?
A lot different.
Did they tell you that this is what's going to happen when they're done with the surgery?
Yeah.
That
so
you're going to have a raspy voice?
I was hoping to come out like Barry White, not
I was
Sammy
thinking,
White. Yeah.
Can you sing?
I would shatter glass. No, my wife says if I try to hit a note, stop. Just here's a pencil. Please do what you're talented
Right.
with.
Holy shit! What a tragic thing to happen.
But here's the thing, Mike, and if I could share with the
Don't hit the
phoners,
table because it shakes the camera.
I was sad, but then I fucking realized it wasn't that I had cancer. It was that fucking cancer had me. I was like, no, we're gonna dance. Let's fucking beat this thing. And I did. But some people, and I know we go through hard things, but I didn't take it as, oh, whoa, the life is horrible. I said, how can I use this opportunity? And I wrote a book, too, about the funny shit I would see when I would go to my radiation appointments. I didn't let it get me down. I saw it as an opportunity. And I said, no, fucking cancer has me. That's what I'm going to do with this situation. Thus, I said, life is too short, man. If we're not laughing, you're not living. Plus, laughter is some type of exercise. Look it up. You can Google it. You can actually lose a little calories laughing. So I try to laugh as much as I can. And this gentleman right here, every day when I watch his YouTube videos, I share with my coworkers, I have him crying. This dude's funny.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Holy shit. Well, hey, it's a great attitude. So after you went to Santa Rosa, when was it that you joined the military?
So in my high school years, I kind of got into trouble, drugs, dating, sex.
Now, wait a minute. Here comes the cool story.
All that shit we did. Now, in Santa Rosa High School, actually, on the same block, they have a junior high school, and I think they filmed a movie there with Nicolas Cage and Kathleen Turner. I can't remember the name. something how she got her name back. I recently watched that movie with my wife, and I'm like, there's my math class, there's my English class. So I got in. I wasn't really motivated in Santa Rosa in that spray, because I thought in Southern California I would do drugs. No, it's not until I got to Santa Rosa, which was by Humboldt County, the king of marijuana. I started getting into some dumb shit.
I heard about some areas in Northern California, and everybody's all whacked out.
Exactly. Well, that's where the good weed comes from, the good marijuana.
Right.
And you can't get into those backwoods. So my dad was like, he's not doing well. So he says, why don't you join the military? So we go to this recruiter. I talk to him, and he says, well, you have a job to work on toilets or to work in an air conditioning space riding backwards. I'm an artist. That was a fucking slam dunk. Sign me up. And the funny thing was, I'm in San Diego, and at the time, they had a boot camp in San Diego. But guess where the fuck they sent me in the wintertime? Chicago. Oh, super cold as balls.
Nothing like a Santa Monica boy in Chicago.
Oh, God. I froze to death. So I get off the plane, what the fuck? And I'm getting yelled at, get the fucking down, give me 50 push-ups. I said, what the fuck? And I'm in boot camp.
Can't hit this table because he shakes the camera.
I'm in boot camp, and these guys would fuck with you. Like, if they would tell you to do 100 push-ups, Amstadter, give me 100. You start doing push-ups, and he would come up, hey, Amstadter, how many brothers and sisters you have? You're like, 2? 2, start over again. Oh, shit, I'm doing more push-ups. Okay, Amstadter, how many brothers does your dad have? 1, 2, 3 brothers. 3, that's all you did? Start over again. Oh, fuck. Doing more push-ups. Finally comes out, Amstadter, how many women have you slept with? 100. All right, you got it. Now get up.
Maybe you should have lied.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick the Navy?
I think I wanted to see the world. What more safer place can you be on in a ship surrounded by missiles, surrounded by enemy systems? I mean, if we go into it, fucking, I don't know if China or Russia can mess with us. I know what's on those ships. It's like that movie Friday, Who Wants Some of D-Boat, right? So you don't fucking really want this. So a funny story, my first ship or my first duty station was in Japan. Fucking Japan. I go there 17 and a half years old. You know, didn't know much, and I get off at this country. What the hell? Crazy language everywhere. They drive on the right side of the car. And then when I get to Japan, I get on a ship called the USS Fife. And I missed it to where the captain made admiral. And they had videos that the ship shot the most Tomahawk missiles in the Afghan war of any other ships. And it was 61 missiles. You can look it up. 61 missiles. And it looked like a video game. The chute would open up. Off goes a missile. That's one. Millions of dollars. Gone. 61. Just lit them up. So that's some stuff to be proud of.
That'd be kind of fun to see.
Oh, yeah. It looked like a video game.
How long were you in the Navy?
I was in for 10 years. Stationed on 2 destroyers, a frigate, and then I did security police little south of here in Seal Beach. That's where they take the ships to load up the Tomahawk missiles. And I did security work there.
So how long you been out of the Navy?
Since '01.
And that's when you started becoming an artist.
I was even an artist in the military.
Well, what exactly do you do?
Right now I work as an admissions counselor for a university. I do real estate investing on the side, and then I do the cartoon when I have free time.
Let's get to the cartoons, because I feel like you're straining. Does it hurt you to talk?
Sometimes yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes no. But if I'm laughing, I don't care how bad it hurts.
Yeah. So the cancer's all gone?
Cancer's all gone, but you still have to do follow-up appointments, just make sure that everything's gone. But I'm still laughing every day. I try to find a way to laugh. That just also helps me with my PTSD. I deal with that, being a Navy vet. And I one time told my wife, if I can't make people laugh doing this, why am I living? I need something to get up to every morning, and this helps.
All right, let's get to some jokes here, because this, I feel bad that it seems like you're straining to get out this story, and you don't have to. Let's find some joy. We met on the internet, like I said. He drew a cartoon, and the cartoon was me. And I just started cracking up, and I said, I think I got more hair than the cartoon that you created. But he came to a bunch of shows, and here we are doing the story on his life. So I'm going to put this up in front of the camera so everybody can get a quick laugh. And then you talk to me about how this actually
This is Mike
came to
animated.
me. Wait a
y'all.
minute now.
Here you go.
Is it centered?
Go back a little bit. There, now everyone can see it.
All right, can you read that? Got an autograph on this one. All right, so this here says, I'd be the first Italian president, and we all got to say the same thing. You don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. That is so fucking
That's
cool.
hilarious.
That is cool, man. Does that look like me?
There it is, y'all. Marino.
I'm a cartoon. I made it.
That was him at the Laugh Factory doing his bit.
Oh, yeah. Is that where you saw me in Hollywood?
Yeah.
The Hollywood Laugh Factory.
And I thought I'd capture that in the cartoon.
Super cool. Okay. So this is great. And then we have the character that you created.
So
Right.
this is, if I could share it with all the followers, Mike also inspired me to come up with one of my characters named Mary Mazzano. When I first started the cartoon, it was all male characters. And my daughter one day says, Dad, why don't you make it diverse? Why don't you go for a woman character, but don't make it the typical blonde, blue hair, what have you. So I was thinking one weekend, I kind of came across some of Mike's videos, and I said, how about a girl from New Jersey that grew up with 6 brothers and has a black belt in karate, drop her in the military? And I'm like, oh my God, that's a ton of content to write. Yes. Now, her parents were killed in an accident when she was a kid. Thus, she was raised by her 3 uncles, Little Lorenzo, Gino, and Paulie. And this next cartoon shows her uncles going to the ship because she forgot her ravioli lunch at home.
This one?
Yes. So Johnson says, Chief, 3 guys named Lil Lorenzo, Gino, and Paulie are asking for you on the quarterdeck. I'm coming right up. And then the big guy says, we are Maz's uncles. I'm Lil Lorenzo. She forgot her ravioli lunch at home. I wanted to make sure she gets it personally. Chief says personally works for me. And there's her 3 uncles.
All right, so now let's suppose in this dream comes to fruition and you got some actors to do the voices of these characters. I could just imagine how cool that would be. I'd love to lend my voice to one of these guys, but look at the little guy. And it looks like it'd be really, really funny. And it's nice the way all these guys got these gigantic coffee mugs as well. But it's
Yep.
really, really cool. Now, how do you actually make it? How do you make a cartoon?
So how my process works is I
Did
start with...
you draw it?
Yes. But before I draw, I come with the idea. Maybe like how you write your jokes. What's the punchline? What's the story? How many characters and how many frames? Specifically, what characters am I going to use? So I sketch out the idea. Then I take it to a light board and I trace it with the ink pen. Then I ink it. I scan it into my computer. And then I use a platform called Adobe Illustrator. I whack that in Illustrator and it does everything for me. It traces, I add color, I do my text bubbles, bada bing, bada boom, I add my little signature and it's done. So by the time it hits the computer, that's the hard work. But once it's in the computer, it could take me about maybe 30 minutes to color, animate, or do whatever, and then add the text bubbles and I'm done.
So in a perfect world, you'd like to be the guy who creates the next Simpsons, right?
Exactly.
Similar.
So the way I see the cartoon, The Simpsons were to meet like The Sopranos, something like that. That's kind of like, it has a different flair, but imagine, just the comedy behind The Simpsons. They could have special guests come on board. Mazzano really is a place in my heart because my daughter motivated me. Dad, come up with a little, female character. And she was the one that kind of inspired me to create this girl. And, I got some more stories coming about us. Especially there's a cartoon I did where all her brothers are in each branch of the service. And the guy's like, what's up with that? She's like, Dad wanted to make sure we covered all bases of the military.
Well, right now we got Maz here. She looks really cute.
Yeah, has a little hat to the
Let's show
back.
this one. Maz is in the Navy. I like the way you put it, Maz, and not...
And then on this cartoon, you'll see a little back shot of the Coronado Bridge, which is really famous. You see it in a bunch of movies. But this is where Johnson's asking her, hey, Maz, how was your few days off from work? Great, met a cute guy. He's taking me out this Friday. But first, he must pass my uncle's panel test. Uncle's panels test? There's the panel test. There's all the uncles again. Have her home by midnight or you'll get an extra hole in the head. Any issues and you meet Sammy Shotgun. Mike, why don't you take that last one? Right here. What is your...
What's your social security number and home address?
You're not going to get by these uncles. You better be on point.
The three wise guys.
There you go. There's Sammy Shotgun right there.
How cool, man. This is really nicely done.
Thank you.
All right. So here's some more Maz.
So this one is her and one of the characters named Jose de la Cruz. They're having a little conversation by the side of the bridge of the ship. And this is how the conversation goes. Hey, Mazzano, how did your date go last night? Not good. Oh, hey, what happened? He wanted what most men want. Do I dare ask? My fabulous Italian cooking. So maybe it ain't sex this time, but they're like, my God, this girl can get down in the kitchen. That's what I want. So, that one kind of showcases just a simple dialogue between her and Dela Cruz.
It kind of reminds me of watching or reading the Sunday papers back in the day when you saw the cartoons and the cartoon section of the Sunday papers in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, when you come up with something like this, it's a long shot and a hardcore dream to get a cartoon, let's say on the Cartoon Network or in a movie, Netflix.
Hulu.
So you got to do some kind of, let's say, social media with them.
Yes.
You had, what's this character's name?
So this right here is the Chief Coffee Cup. And he was actually inspired by a guy I served with. And his name was Donald Dayton, country boy from Ohio, as country as they come. You might ask where so-and-so is. He'd be like, well, if he's in your ass, one of those country bumpkins. So this guy named Dayton had a coffee cup as big as this one from AM PM. And I used to ask him, when you plan on sleeping? We're on binge watching. He having all this coffee. And he says, I'll get enough sleep when I die. I said, okay. So he also inspired me to come up with the Chief Coffee Cup. But the coffee cup, as you can see, is so huge. I just thought it was hilarious. Let's put that in the cartoon. Because in my travels, I've been to, Italy. Oh, I love that place. Greatest food on earth. I've been to Greece. I've been to France. I've been to Australia. I've been to China. I've been in Japan. Most people start their day with coffee. Am I lying?
Yeah.
So I know that's another audience I can appeal to with the love of coffee. And now not everybody likes that sugary stuff that you got to have a business card of grande mocha with this, and that. And the person's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So some people just like it straight black, but also how much coffee do you need a day? Some few cups, maybe one or two. I also put cartoons on coffee cups to kind of symbolize the cartoon as well. So not only can you see the cartoons on a piece of paper or on social media, I could put them on coffee cups. Now, do you remember when you was a kid and you would have the cereal and there would be some type of cartoon or funny thing to look at on the back? So
you read the back of the cereal box.
Right. So why not give people something funny to look at while they're having their coffee? And
Yeah.
so I started putting cartoons on coffee cups.
That's a great idea. Okay, so watch the table because we keep on both shaking the camera. If you have a cup of coffee in the morning and you have cartoons you could read, that could be kind of cool. And then if you read it once, twice, three times, you notice one, so you toss it and you buy yourself another cartoon, another episode. How many episodes do you have? Well, I got a 12 coffee cup collection of 12 episodes, and I can't stop watching Mazzana. That's really cool, man. It's very creative.
Thank you.
Are you actually selling this on the internet?
I am, but I haven't been on the website lately. I need to get that updated. But what I'm most excited about is I'm going to try to do this year is a cartoon book from all of the original cartoons I did 15 years ago. I'm almost there. I have the whole book laid out where it's cartoons that's mostly black and white, but it shows you my start in cartoons. I'm sure you had your start in comedy. We all had to start somewhere. So this cartoon book's going to show you what it was like when I first did this 15 years ago, and the book's going to be called Chief Coffee Cup Originals. It didn't have Mazzano at the time because it was all the characters. But each year I could do a new cartoon book, introduce Mazzano, as I'm also thinking of introducing new characters because some of the guys I serve with, I don't know how they joined the military, but just hilarious. And maybe on some of the podcast shows with Mike, I could give you stories about these guys I serve.
What would be like the ultimate goal to have the cartoon and you get some celebrity voices put inside the cartoon's mouth and watch it on, let's say, just Instagram alone, because that could get you millions of views.
Yeah, I could see you doing the chief.
Hey, I'm the chief.
Hey, don't mess with the coffee. He would be great for the chief. I thought about Mazzano. I think Lady Gaga would be perfect. Right? Lady Gaga, she's Italian, so she would be able to represent Mazzano.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, right? And then who knows? I mean, that's what The Simpsons did. But, this cartoon would just bring that flavor where there's never been anything animated cartoon-wise about the Navy. There's been movies. There's been TV shows. But the way I see it is The Simpsons, if you remember that show from the 70s, MASH, one of my favorite shows. I start my morning every day with a cup of coffee and a few episodes of MASH. And that's how I start my workday.
Right. So how many cartoons have you actually put together? How many can we actually read? And where's everybody going to get to see this that they can see it from now?
Oh, thank you. So you can follow me and see all my cartoons on Instagram and Facebook in one word, Chief Coffee Cup. And that's one word, Chief Coffee Cup. Put that in Facebook or Instagram, and then you can follow me and see all the cartoons I've done in the past, as well as those coming up in the future, as I post them every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, I get excited as that's the day I get to post my cartoon and make people laugh.
So every Wednesday you post one of these cartoons?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
On Instagram?
On Instagram and Facebook.
This is really cool. Chief Coffee Cup.
Yep.
By Brian Amstadter, who was a Navy guy for a long time. And what was your position in the Navy?
Oh, thank you for asking. So what I did in the Navy is I was what's called an operations specialist. Again, when I first joined, they said, "You want to work in an air conditioning place or fixing toilets? Give me the air conditioning space." So what I did is I would do navigation. If you ever seen Captain Phillips, they shot these dark rooms with radar screens. That was my job in the Navy. So I had to track other ships, other aircraft, and sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's nothing to track, there's nothing to do. Guys would be sleeping, and I would be on my screen drawing pictures, and then the officer would come by. "What the fuck are you doing?" I said, "Why are you yelling at me? That guy's asleep over there. I'm drawing, I'm awake, let me be." So I was always drawing in the military. Sometimes I got in trouble, or sometimes one time the lieutenant says, "Hey, we're coming back from a Westpac. I see you're artistic. Would you like to make a banner for the ship as we pull in and show everybody our gratitude?" Without a doubt. And that got me off a 6-hour watch. And I had this big cloth, kind of, like the one on this table. And I just drew this big picture of a ship coming in from sea. So sometimes you never know where artistic talent could take you. But it got me out of a 6-hour watch. So above that, I did navigation. So whenever a ship pulls in and out of the harbor, it's a big navigation evolution. You got to find points and navigate your way through like shore waters because you don't want to hit nothing. Plus, you might have little sailboats coming and going. So you got to navigate all that. And then once you get out to open waters, you got to follow the charts to what your destination is.
So on one of these big ships, you would a navigating guy, the guy that says, "Hey, listen, it's a little shallow. We're going to hit the ground."
Right, yeah. And then they would give you a publication that would come out, I believe, every few months, every month to update points in navigation waters. And so what we'd have to do is if we know we were going to a place like, let's say, Hawaii or Japan, then you would just get the charts for that trip alone, get that book, and then put them together with the updates. So as you track yourself, let's just say Hawaii, you're going to track yourself to Hawaii and make sure you have all the little update icons on your charts so that way you don't miss anything.
Like playing Battleship. "You sank my battleship."
Yep.
That was a great game back in the day. Battleship, Right 4-2 or some shit like that. I don't remember
A4, miss, B3, you sank my battleship.
Yeah.
You always
right.
had that
That
one
little needle.
You had that one with just the two. What the fuck is two?
Yeah, the
That
two
you-
little tugboat. or
two
some
little
shit.
tugboat. I'm like, give me another
You
battleship.
sank my battleship. You
Yeah.
should put that in your cartoon.
Oh, fuck, what was it, like a dinghy or something like that?
When you were in the Navy, did you see any, really nasty shit? Like as if you thought they're gonna bomb the fuck out of this boat, and I ain't making
Yes, one of the scariest things we did is when you got into the Gulf waters, you had to go through these straits, and they would make you go to what's called general quarters. Everybody puts on their kind of a wartime gear, and as you transition into the Gulf, you have missiles locked on you, and you can't go within a certain distance of the shore water. And if you did, shoo, away those missiles went. So we're in our battle gear, and then once we got into the Gulf, then we can kind of relax, take everything off, and then resume kind of having our presence in the Gulf. That was scary than shit, because you knew missiles were just watching you go through
No
the
shit.
straits. Yeah.
It's like in the most recent movie, Top Gun Part 2. They showed the missiles. They supposedly they flew too low, not to be signaled, but as soon as they went up, they shot it. Like that?
Yeah.
That's fucking scary as shit, man.
Oh, another thing we did is when a ship gets gas out at sea, that's an evolution like none like other. Look it up on YouTube. It's called an unret or getting gas at sea. So basically, you have an oiler tanker going by, and then the ship's gonna come by next to it. They got to shoot this line across to the other ship, and then they bring in this gas pump. They smack it in the ship, and then everything starts moving forward. They have gas going through that line of the ship as these ships are moving together. And what I would do is I had this board that would let the captain know where we're at in parallel to that tanker. And you got this swell of ocean in between. So if you get too close, that swell can bring you to the tanker. You can only imagine what would happen next. So we would have to do something called emergency breakaway. They would cut the line, and for getting too close, the gas pipe would go to the tanker, and then we would have to circle around and do it all over again. As in, sometimes we said evolutions, you would have a tanker with ships on both sides, like a valet parking lot, and ships in the back waiting to get their gas. And not only do that during the day, they fucking do that at night. It's a sight to see. It looks like two cities floating together. That's some dangerous shit. But they would have these little light sticks, and they would do all these little hand gestures to let the other ship know what to do. It's a sight to see, man.
Where does the tanker ship come from? So if your warship is out there protecting or defending, where does a tanker come from?
The military. So I believe they're usually titled USNS.
I know it comes from the military, but okay, where was the base that the gas said, okay, we're on our way?
Can come from San Diego.
That far away?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't they need gas?
They have enough gas to.
No, wait a minute. So let's suppose in the battleships in the Gulf, you're ready to fight the war. Where's the tanker coming from with the gas?
It will come in there.
From San Diego.
Or it could come from Japan. It could come from Hawaii.
In other words, that's
those
one
ships
hell of a
are.
drive.
Well, they have enough gas to fuel themselves and then fuel other ships. It's amazing.
That's
the
insane,
technology.
man. Well, I entertain on cruise ships, so I see how big they could be. What's it like to be on an aircraft carrier with the tanks on it and the planes are on it? You seen all of that?
I was never stationed on the carrier, but I heard the ocean really doesn't move them as much. Now, I've been on smaller ships that the ocean tosses around like a rag doll, where I've seen the nose literally disappear. Boom, it would go in the water and you would come up. Boom. Or if you're rocking like this, we would actually walk on the wall. As the ship would turn this way, now you're walking on the wall. Come back this way, you're walking on the other side of the wall.
Holy shit.
Fucking crazy, right?
And it never sunk.
Never sunk. Or if we're in heavy seas, and you might have seen videos, the beds are nothing bigger than your couch, and you had these guys 6'2", curled up like this, but they would have straps for your bed. The reason for the straps is so you don't fall out of the bed while you're in heavy ocean.
Strapped in like a kid.
Yeah, so I mean, you can imagine how some of these guys have issues when they get out, that you've been, kind of strapped in your bed like this so you don't fall the fuck out. And we're talking 3 beds high. I've seen guys fall out of their racks to hit the ground and go right back to sleep. It's crazy. But those are some of the things that we deal with that not too many people know about.
Holy shit, man. I could never be at war. I could never be on a ship, man. What does it sound like when they're actually launching those guns off the ship and they're shooting those missiles? Is loud? You guys wear headphones
Yeah,
and shit?
we have headphones on. I've never been on a battleship, but I can imagine those guys don't have hearing because those guns are just fucking unbelievable. USS Iowa, Long Beach. If you get a chance, check that ship out. It's got big guns, knock anybody the fuck out. But when I was on destroyers, we would have this little island outside of San Clemente, and they would have these targets, and when we would use our big guns, and everybody would have their headgear on, they would give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, boom, and it would just go, and everybody would shake for a little bit, and then okay, that's one round.
What's the difference between a destroyer and a battleship?
So a destroyer is smaller. Each ship has its own purpose. So like a frigate is meant to be in front of a battle group. Usually a battle group has a carrier, a few cruisers, a destroyer, some subs. Again, if you've seen pictures of a battle group in the ocean, it's like, who the fuck wants to fuck with that? We're coming to fuck some shit up, right?
Yeah.
So then you have a destroyer.
Coming to fuck some shit up.
A destroyer could have different missions. A frigate's supposed to be ahead of the battle group. You got the carrier in the middle, surrounded by other ships, and then you might have a submarine hiding somewhere. And then they usually take that whole battle group into the Gulf, and it's kind of like, our presence is here. What y'all want to do?
Okay, but what's a frigate for? It's the smallest one in the fleet?
It's kind of dangerous. It's in the front of the battle group. So if some shit goes off in front of the battle group, the frigate's the first one to either be hit or take care of business.
Oh,
and
man.
they could also deal with looking for a submarine, maybe looking for an enemy submarine. They're looking for aircraft. And then you have what's called the most craziest thing I've ever seen, an Aegis cruiser. And their combat information center looks like a war game. Just big screens, and they could tell you where any ship is and anywhere in the world at any time. Oh, amazing!
I've seen the attacks, on television, in the news and stuff, and you see that the aircraft carriers like in the center, and then you get all small ships on the sides, and it makes you wonder which ship is the one going to get killed first,
Right?
or do some damage first. It's amazing what the Navy can do. Now, if you're in the Navy and you're on one of those ships, it housed Marines on it?
The bigger ships did. Aircraft carrier might house Marines. Another ship called an amphibious ship. You might have seen this, where little boats come out of the back of the ship. What they do is they take Marines to the beach. Kind of, we're like the Marines Uber. We take them to where they need to go.
And the guy driving the boat is a Navy man.
Right. And so
And he says, all right, Marines, get off. See ya.
Exactly. We call those amphibs.
An amphibious. I've seen that.
Yeah, so the back of the ship's open. These little boats come out, and they take the Marines to the beach, and then we come back, kind of like, with the Battle of Normandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of stuff they did.
What do they do with stuff that's not being used anymore? Like they retire these battleships, and then they say, oh, it's being decommissioned or recommissioned, and it, what do they do? Rip them apart and
Either
sink them?
They go as a museum. As you know, in San Diego, there's USS Midway, which sits by the bay. People pay tickets, and you get to go from the top to the bottom. That ship's amazing, where it has like a whole dentist lab, medical staff. When the Midway was active, or a ship, which is sadly enough to say they might send it to the bottom of the ocean. We don't have any need for it, and they actually did that to the USS 5, which broke my heart because I lived there for 3 years, and then to see that,
Wow.
missile hit it and it goes to the bottom of the ocean. So it might decommission, go as a museum, or they might scrap it, or they might, blow it up or use it for shooting purposes, practice, something like that.
Were you ever on one that just got really pummeled?
No, was never shot at. I was on the USS John Young, was another destroyer out of San Diego. And the only things that we did that was ever crazy was maybe shoot at targets, or do those evolutions where Maybe you're getting gas out at sea, and at the same time, the ship has supplies for you. So you got a helicopter coming to your ship, dropping off supplies at the same time you're getting gas. That's an evolution. That's really crazy. You got guys all over doing all sorts of stuff. You got search and rescue swimmers. If you ever seen that movie Men of Valor with De Niro and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yes.
How he became a rescue swimmer.
Yes, I love that movie.
So there's that part of it where, you
Who
got to
would
be on
want to do
standby.
that? Why did they want to do that? For what? Hey, listen, you're going to have to wear this huge helmet with these weights on your feet and go in the ocean and go take a look around for some nuts and bolts.
Right.
The fuck, man?
Now, I can swim with the best of them, but I don't know if I could ever go in the ocean that's dark and then something touches me. I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah, like a dead person. or an octopus.
Yeah.
or Mazzano.
Mazzano down there. What are you doing down here, Maz?
What are you grabbing?
Looking for sharks.
Well, just grab my ass.
Yeah.
A cartoon. They know the cartoon can move.
Maybe Matt Mazzano has like mermaid girlfriends. They can all hang out.
So how long did you do the Navy?
I did the Navy for 10 years, from 1990, where I went to boot camp in Chicago. Coldest place on earth. Let me share a funny story. I'm in boot camp, and they decided to have us do road guard for this parade coming through. Snow, cold as balls. Oh my! I couldn't feel my fingers. I had on a ski mask and the big pea coats, right? So me and my buddy are blocking this parade. We're at the street, and all of a sudden, Mother Nature hits me. And I said, "Hey, buddy, I'm gonna go into this bar real quick and use the restroom." I forgot what I was wearing. I go running into this bar full speed. Where's the restroom? The place thought I wanted to hold it up. Everybody hit the floor. I'm like, I took my mask off. No, I just got to use the restroom. I'm in the military. Oh, then everybody got up. It's the second door down the right. I said, okay. So that shit was funny. I thought I was going to hold the place up. I had a, ski mask and a big coat. They didn't know what the fuck was happening. But I had to go so bad. I'm like, where's the bathroom? I got to take a piss.
So you retired from the military?
Not retired, I got out. So what happened to me was I have 2 daughters, and the last Westpac I was on, they were maybe 2 and 1. So I left for 6 months when they were really young. When I came back and I hit the pier, they hid behind their mom as if, who is that guy? They didn't know who I was. And I said, I'm not okay with that because I want to be there for all their special moments.
Right.
Graduating high school, going to college, middle school. So that's one of the reasons why I got out after 10 years, where people say you can do another 10 and retire. I could do another 10 and be fucking half crazy too. Because I've seen guys get out after 20 years, they don't look 38, they look 58 because it wears you down. Fucking coffee, cigarettes. And if you ever kind of notice someone has bad breath, put together coffee and cigarettes. That shit will knock you out on spot. Ooh. Yeah, right? That coffee breath is something.
Oh, that's nasty.
And I used to be on watch, and my chief would just come right here. Hey, what are you doing? Just about knocking me back out. It'd be horrible.
So you don't get a pension?
No, 10 years. All I got was a handshake and thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was it. But I don't know, if you're a politician, you do 4 years, you can leave and get 100%
And you become
retirement.
president.
Or you become president, which this guy needs to do, because what does he say? I'll fix shit in 3 months. I don't want to wait 4 years. Fix the shit tomorrow. Exactly. If you want my vote, he's got my vote, my wife's vote, my daughter's vote, my stepson's vote. This man needs to change shit for this country, and hopefully he can say, maybe we need to pay our military more, not so much to the athletes. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying.
Screw the athletes, pay the military men who risk their lives on a PT boat.
Exactly. And Westpacs, check this out, everybody. Westpacs used to be 6 months long, half a year being away from your family. Now on the normal, they're gone for a year. A year. You don't get to see your family. What's the return on that? Yes, you're protecting our freedom, but sometimes these guys come back not all the same. That's a lot of what? They don't get overtime. 7 days a week they work underway on the ship. There's no overtime. There's nothing extra.
I don't know why anybody would want to be on a submarine.
That I've never done.
No, just saying.
Now, we used to practice drills in the Navy. That what happens if we have a flood? What happens if a pipe bursts? And they would call general quarters. And everybody would have their station. We'd get on the fireman gear. We'd get our hoses and get ready for that. So you can imagine that. Now you're underwater. oh, I couldn't do it. Now, what's different on the subs is, check this out, people, they get to switch and use the same bed as somebody else. Not on the ships I was on. You had your own bed. That was yours. You had your own towel and everything. On the submarines, they call it hot racking, where one guy would get up to go and watch while another guy got to go back in his bed. So you had to share your bed with somebody.
Oh.
Imagine that for months out at sea.
Yeah, one guy happens to wear cologne that you can't stand.
Yeah, or we had this one guy that would go in the
Or he
shower.
had cigarette breath with coffee.
There you go. Put that on your pillow. It may not be white when you get to it. Or if the guy had a bad batch of food, we call shit on the shingle.
Oh.
And he can't stop, passing gas, and he's doing that shit on your bed.
Well, here he is now in the funny business, the cartoon business, and we're going to get to see his work. So one more time, why don't you tell everybody where they can actually find all this wonderful, hilarious silliness that you made from your experiences in the Navy?
So please, everybody, follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Chief Coffee Cup. All one word, Chief Coffee Cup.
Chief Coffee Cup. Let's show everybody my favorite one.
I love it. You don't know nothing. You didn't see nothing. You don't say nothing. Exactly. Keep your fucking mouth shut.
Does it look like me?
Of course it does.
You drew that?
I drew that.
Look at the cufflinks.
I know. I captured the cufflinks, the Laugh Factory logo.
That's what I was wearing on that day.
And look, that's the same finger gesture, the hand gestures he does in his comedy bit. I watched that video probably about 25 times to capture what your hands were doing when you were saying that bit.
No shit. How cool is that?
It's fucking way cool.
Guys in the audience coming up with an idea of what I look like. This is something else. So, I want to thank you so much for coming all the way up to North Hollywood from San Diego. That's one hell of a drive.
It is. I think I hit traffic maybe 3 times on the way up. My wife had to calm me down, and then somehow I think I accidentally cut off this one guy. He's giving me the finger. I fucking start zigzagging like, well, who wants to get crazier? Let's do this shit. My wife said, settle down.
Look at the shirt. Down. Tell everybody, did they buy the shirt? Do you sell the shirts on the internet?
Not yet. I need to redo my website, but I will let everybody know once everything's updated. I'm just going through a lot this year. Again, dealing with my throat, so I don't sound like Wolfman Jack or whatever fucking character you think I sound like. The Wolfman.
Isn't he from up Santa Rosa?
I think
Fresno.
He is. Wolfman Jack.
Fresno.
Yeah.
Merced.
Yeah. So I wanted surgery to sound like Barry White, but I came out sounding like Wolfman Jack. Go figure.
Imagine the Wolfman Jack, man. I remember that. That
right?
was great.
Like, I was classic. He had that beard. He looked like a wolf.
Yeah. This is the Wolfman Jack show. Yeah.
That guy was awesome.
So, you write all your own stuff, huh?
I write all my own stuff. Usually when I come down in the evenings, maybe my wife and I are watching some TV, an idea might hit my head. Maybe I'm on the way to see Mike. An idea might hit me. I'll write it down. Maybe I'm driving to get coffee. Maybe I'm at the grocery store. That's when some of my best ideas come, and I'll punch that in my phone, write it down, and I'll go home and I'll work on it.
Did you see me live first or on the internet?
On the internet first. I saw his bit when he did being an Italian president, and ever since that, I've been a big fan. I believe I shared it with my brother in San Jose, and I think he was crying because he was laughing so hard. I'm like, here's some tissue, wipe away those tears. I even showed it to one of my coworkers named Nicole, who comes from an Italian family. She was talking about the meatballs, the macaroni meatballs. She's like, yeah, grandma that does that. I said, see, y'all understand each other. Now, I'm not fully Italian, but being that my dad was a Jewish lawyer, raised me in Santa Monica, but he loved everything Italian. He loved what's that singer? Frank Sinatra. He loved the Sopranos. He loved the Goodfellas. He loved the spaghetti al dente. And as a kid, I don't know what the fuck al dente was. I thought we had a neighbor named Al that didn't like cars. I'm like, what is al dente? So, but I get the Italian culture. You know, I love that culture. And that's what I think diversity in this country is about, is just learning about each other's culture. Now, I'm half Mexican, half German. So I probably put sauerkraut on my fucking tacos.
That's a weird breed, man. That is a real weird breed.
I know. And my wife is pissed. She met my dad, who's 6'2". My mom's 5'1". She's like, "What the fuck? You got the short and the stick." And my wife's taller than me. You'll meet her tonight. And she's like, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know, but I can't grow, so maybe you need to shrink."
Well, listen, folks. I mean, we're having some fun here, talking with an ex-Navy man who turned his life into coming up with some crazy, silly cartoons that you can watch, especially if he tells you one more time how to get it on his social media. And, of course, this classic one that hopefully will add to my social media as well, because that's me, and I'd be a great voice to play me, and hopefully we'll get some great voices to play all the characters that are in your project over here. So tell them once again where they can find these Sunday morning cartoons.
They can find it on Instagram and Facebook at Chief Coffee Cup. And hey, let's take a vote. Maybe you think Mike could be the voice for the Chief? I wouldn't put it past him, but what y'all think? Put that vote in. Do you say Mike for the character of the Chief? And can you see this guy drinking this fucking coffee out of this cup? Look at that. He wouldn't stop doing stand-up. He could probably do 5 sessions in a day and keep the fucking shit going.
Nothing like being energized.
Right?
Well, listen, my man, thank you so much for coming all the way up here. I appreciate it. I want to thank my producer, Tatiana Blueshell,
Thank you.
for always making sure that we put together a great show and we have a great guest come on the show, even if they travel from far away to be here and show their work and everything. Remember, our motto is Make America Italian Again. Yes. And I also want to let you all know that every single episode comes out on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Jersey time, 5 o'clock California time, or Santa Monica time. Yeah. Exclusively on my YouTube channel, which is Mike Marino Live on YouTube. We're also on Spotify. Now, if you go to Spotify these days, you don't have to just listen. You can actually watch the show. We're also on Italian American Radio in New York City. One more shout out to Tatiana Blueshell for always making sure we have a great show. Thank you for being fantastic producer. We got to get going. Remember, like I said, make America Italian again. Your motto is you don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my podcasts by saying the same thing with my guest? You remember what it is?
Refresh my memory.
Don't take no shit from nobody.
Don't take no shit from nobody.
You ready?
Yes. Don't take no shit from nobody.
Hey folks, thanks for watching Live from my mother's basement. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, hit the word like and leave me a really cool comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future episodes and you can watch some of the funniest videos on the internet. You can also listen to the show on Spotify or your favorite podcast app.